I'm Elias Thorne, a broke-ass scholarship kid at Harvard, the kind of place where everything screams old money and privilege I can only stare at from the outside. I work shifts at the library and the campus coffee shop, scraping together cash so I don't starve or have to crawl back home empty-handed. I don't belong at the wild parties. I don't belong with the trust fund kids laughing too loud in their designer clothes. But that one night, I got dragged straight into the hurricane named Julian Vance. His frat was throwing a massive blowout. The house was huge, neon lights flashing, bass thumping so hard it rattled my chest, the air thick with booze and sweat. I was just the temp server, weaving through the crowd with a tray of drinks, chasing tips to make rent. Julian stood there like he owned the damn world. Tall, golden hair catching the lights, those sharp blue eyes, and that half-smirk that made heads turn. Frat president, loaded, arrogant as hell. His crew circled him, pulling their usual rich boy bullshit. Mocking cheap clothes, service jobs, treating kids like me like we were their evening entertainment. I tried to stay invisible, gripping the tray tight. Then someone slammed into me from behind. The tray tipped. A full glass of red wine splashed all over Julian's crisp white shirt. Time froze. The crowd went dead quiet, waiting for the explosion. I stammered an apology, heart hammering, convinced I was about to lose my job, or worse. But Julian didn't flip out. He just looked at me, then smiled. That fake, predatory smile everyone knew too well. He stepped in close, breath hot against my ear, reeking of expensive whiskey, voice ice cold. "You owe me big now, Elias, and I'm gonna make you pay. My way." Goosebumps raced down my spine. Something in his tone, the heat of his breath, sparked a dangerous pull I didn't want to name. He didn't yell in front of everyone. Instead, he announced to his snickering friends that I'd be cleaning the frat house every night for the foreseeable future to work off the debt. They cheered like it was the funniest thing ever. I stood there knowing this wasn't a joke. When the party ended, he gave me one last possessive look. I left feeling uneasy as hell, not realizing my life had just landed in Julian Vance's hands, and he wasn't letting go. The next few nights, I showed up on time like a prisoner serving a sentence. The house emptied out after his friends bailed, leaving distant music and the faint smell of beer. I wore my usual faded jeans and gray hoodie, trying to disappear in that fancy space. Julian waited in his top-floor room. King bed, walnut desk, windows overlooking the snow-covered campus. The first time we were alone, he lounged in a leather chair, legs crossed, whiskey on ice in hand. "Get started," he said without looking up from his laptop. I cleaned quietly, picking up bottles, wiping tables, vacuuming. He barely spoke, just watched me. Those stares made my skin crawl. Not angry, but appraising, like I was something new he'd claimed. By the third night, things shifted. I finished the last table and he said, "Sit." He pointed to the floor right next to his chair. I hesitated, but his eyes dared me to argue. I sat back against the desk leg, keeping distance. He kept working on econ homework, pen flying across the page. The silence stretched until I could hear the wall clock ticking. Then he spoke, voice low. "You know, Elias, you look so fragile. But there's something about you that makes me want to break you open and see what's inside." I swallowed hard, said nothing. He chuckled, leaning closer. "Tell me, what's it like being a scholarship kid? Ramen every night? Dreaming about money?" I told him short, flat, about my mom working night shifts as a nurse, our cramped two-bedroom on the outskirts, me juggling 3 jobs to send cash home. He mocked a little, but I caught something else in his eyes. Real curiosity, maybe even a flicker of envy. After that, he started touching me. Not rough, just light brushes. Fingers grazing my wrist when I handed him a rag, tracing my arm when I stood close. Once, he grabbed my hand and pressed it to his chest through his shirt. "Feel that," he whispered. His heart hammered. Way too fast. "That's the shit money can't buy, real feeling." I yanked back, but he held on a second longer before letting go. He opened up too. About his dad demanding perfection, his mom's quiet drinking, the weight on his shoulders since he was a kid. His voice stayed even, but I heard the cracks. "Everyone thinks I've got it all," he said once, staring out at the falling snow. "But I've got nothing real." Then came the night I'll never forget. I was running a fever from overwork and the freezing weather, but I showed up anyway, scared of his temper. Halfway through wiping his desk, the room spun. I grabbed the chair to steady myself, but my legs buckled. Julian looked up, frowning. "You okay?" I couldn't answer. He stood, pressed a hand to my forehead. "Jesus, you're burning up." Instead of sending me home, he scooped me up like I weighed nothing and carried me to his bed. I drifted in and out while he called the family doctor, then stripped off my sweaty hoodie and wiped me down with warm towels. He even made soup, something I bet he'd never done for anyone, and fed me spoonfuls while I hovered between awake and asleep. In my haze, I felt his lips brush my forehead. Not possessive, just soft, almost scared. "Sleep," he murmured, voice rough. "I'm right here." Next morning, he was back to his cold self. Soup and meds waited on the table. He didn't mention the night before, just said, "Take the day off. No cleaning." But I knew that moment changed everything. Under the arrogance and power, Julian Vance was as lonely as I was, and I started to fear. Not him, but how hard I was falling into something too dangerous to walk away from. After that fever night, things between us weren't the same. The cleaning continued, but I stayed longer, sometimes until dawn. His commands softened into long looks, random questions, touches that lingered on purpose. He started bringing me along on weekends. Not the loud frat parties anymore, the private rich kid gatherings in off-campus mansions. French wine, Cuban cigars, conversations I only half understood. He introduced me as, "This is Elias, my friend." But his hand always rested on my lower back, thumb stroking my spine through my shirt like he was marking territory. I felt other guys' eyes on me, curious, assessing, sometimes hungry. Every time Julian's grip tightened, jaw clenched. One night on the drive back, he sped faster than usual. "Those assholes were looking at you like they wanted to eat you alive," he growled, eyes on the dark highway. "You like that? Like the attention?" I shook my head. He slammed the steering wheel. "Answer me, Elias." "No," I whispered. "I don't." He went quiet. Then his right hand left the wheel and settled on my thigh, squeezing. "Good. Because you're mine." Those words made my pulse race. I didn't know what I was to him anymore, servant, friend, or something deeper and riskier. Then came the afternoon in the library stacks. I was working a late shift, shelving in the dusty back archives where no one went. The door swung open. Julian stepped in, shut it behind him. Camel coat, wind-tousled hair, eyes blazing. "I've been looking for you for an hour," he rasped. Before I could speak, he closed the distance, pinned me against the shelves. Books tumbled. "You're driving me insane, Elias," he whispered, tilting my chin up. "Every day without you. I want to punch something." His mouth crashed into mine, no gentle, no asking. That first kiss was pure possession. Teeth grazing my lower lip, tongue demanding entry like he wanted to devour me. I pushed at his chest for a second, then my body betrayed me, melting into his heat. Kissed back hard, fingers tangling in his hair, pulling him closer, deeper, letting the fire burn us both. Our breaths mixed, hearts slamming, the world fading away. When he finally pulled back, his eyes were still locked on mine, dark with want. Before leaving, he gripped my hand tight, fingers digging in. "Don't let anyone else touch you, or I'll fucking kill them." His voice was low, threatening, but I nodded without hesitation. Not from fear, because deep down, I wanted him the same way he wanted me. Completely, no room for anyone else. After that, we couldn't stay away. He picked me up after shifts, dragged me to his room, or we just sat in his car talking until late. He slept with me almost every night, spooning me from behind, arms locked like he was afraid I'd vanish. He talked about vague plans. After graduation, we could go somewhere far, just us. But I knew the line between us was still thin. He was Julian Vance. Arrogant, possessive, wounded. I was Elias Thorne. Scholarship kid always waiting for it all to crash. Then things changed. After the stacks, Julian pulled back. He still picked me up, still held me at night, but his eyes avoided mine longer. Touches got rarer, conversations cut off mid-sentence. I asked. He brushed it off. Nothing, or just tired. I told myself it was final stress, that he was still mine. Then the rumors hit. His dad, Senator Vance, running for governor, made a surprise visit. They met privately in the frat president's office. No one knew what was said, but Julian went distant. Canceled plans, short texts, told me busy, go home. When I showed up, I worried but didn't push. Until the monthly frat meeting in the big hall opened to guests, faculty, other houses. I wasn't going, but he texted one line, "Come. Need to say something." My heart pounded. I wore my cleanest button down, hoping this meant he wanted to go public. Claim us. I walked in. The place buzzed. Julian stood on the small stage, mic in hand, looking perfect. Navy blazer, hair neat, confident smile. The crowd clapped as he talked upcoming events. Then he looked right at me, for the first time in a week, and smiled. Relief hit me. For 1 second. "Before we wrap," he said, voice booming, "I want to clear up some rumors." He paused, scanning the curious faces. "There've been whispers about me and someone not in our league." Laughter rippled from his friends. My stomach dropped. "Elias Thorne," he said, clear and cold. "He's just a cheap toy I picked up at a party. I'm over it." The hall exploded in laughs, whistles, applause. I stood frozen, feelings slapped 100 times. Julian kept going, eyes anywhere but me. "Starting today, he's banned from the house. Get him out." I don't remember leaving. Next thing I knew, I was outside in the New England sleet. Snow mixing with rain stinging my face, cold seeping to my bones. But the real pain was inside. My pride, the little I had left after years of scraping by, crushed in front of hundreds. I didn't cry right away. I walked back to the dorm, soaked, hands shaking so bad I couldn't unlock the door. Once inside, I collapsed on the floor, tears coming hard. I trusted him, let him into my weakest places, and he'd thrown me away like trash in front of the whole school. After that, I ghosted everyone, quit the coffee shop, kept only library shifts for money. Rumors flew. Elias, the ambitious poor kid trying to climb via Julian, then dumped. Some pitied me, some mocked. I didn't care. I'd lost everything. Not just him, but faith in myself. I moved out early, rented a shitty attic apartment on the city edge. Leaky roof, peeling walls, no one knew me. Cut ties, did online classes, worked to graduate. Weeks after the public humiliation, I lived like a ghost. Night shifts at a dive bar, online classes by day, trying not to think about him. Every memory of his cold voice in that hall twisted my chest. I told myself I hated him, that he was just another spoiled rich asshole, and I was lucky to escape. But deep down it still hurt. Hurt because I'd believed. Hurt because I'd loved. Then everything flipped in one night. Old friends texted rumors. Julian had rebelled. Posted long rants on social media blasting his dad's toxic expectations, the control, the pressure. Shared childhood photos of his dad berating him in front of guests. Captioned, "This is the dark side of the perfection everyone admires." Campus paper interviewed him. He renounced his inheritance, quit the frat, donated personal money to scholarships for low-income students. I read it all at the bar, hands shaking on my phone. Why now? Why blow up everything he valued? Then that night came. Blizzard raging, wind howling through my cracked windows. I got home late, drenched and exhausted. In the narrow alley leading to my attic, a figure stood under the dim streetlight. Tall, long coat soaked, blonde hair plastered to his forehead. Julian. Snow piled on his shoulders, he'd been there hours. Face pale from cold, lips blue, but eyes fixed on my window. When he saw me, he didn't rush over. Just stood, waiting for me to tell him to fuck off. I stopped a few feet away, heart slamming. "What are you doing here?" My voice came out hoarse, colder than the wind. He didn't answer right away, just stared, eyes red-rimmed. Maybe from cold, maybe tears. Then he stepped closer, voice breaking. "Elias, I'm sorry." I scoffed, turned to leave. Too late. You made it crystal clear in front of the whole school. He lunged, grabbed my arm. His hand was freezing but gripped hard, like he feared I'd disappear. "Hear me out. Just once." I yanked free but didn't walk away. Stood in the sleet waiting. He spilled everything. His dad found out through hidden photos from a private party. In that office meeting, Senator Vance threatened to yank my scholarship, ruin my record, blacklist me from jobs forever. He said if I didn't end it, you'd lose everything. Your future. It's the one thing I couldn't risk. His voice cracked. "I thought if I made you hate me, if I pushed you away, you'd be safe. I was wrong. I can't live without you." He dropped to his knees in the snow, not caring about the wet coat. I gave it all up. The frat, the money, my family, everything. I've got nothing left but you. If you don't forgive me, I get it. But I had to tell you the truth. I love you, Elias. From the night you spilled wine on me, I've been yours. Tears mixed with sleet on his face. Julian Vance, the most arrogant guy on campus, broken, kneeling, begging. I stood there forever, silent. The hurt still burned, but seeing him like that, I couldn't pretend. I stepped forward, pulled him up. He trembled, frozen. I unlocked the door, led him up the creaky stairs. Inside, I stripped off his soaked coat, dried his hair with an old towel, made hot tea. He sat on my only chair, head down. When I handed him the mug, he took my hand, pressed it to his cheek. "I don't deserve this," he whispered. I sat on the floor in front of him, met his eyes. "You hurt me worse than anyone ever has." He nodded, eyes shut tight. "But I can't live without you either." His eyes flew open, stunned. I tugged him down, wrapped my arms around him. We held each other in that cold room, sharing warmth. My tears soaked his shoulder. He kissed my hair, my forehead, my eyes, soft, repentant kisses. That night, we didn't do more than lie on my old mattress, holding tight like letting go meant forever. He apologized 100 times, told me how wrecked he'd been without me. I told him my pain. We cried, laughed, cried again. Morning came. Snow stopped. Julian slept in my arms, face peaceful for the first time. I knew the road ahead would be rough. His family, gossip, uncertain future. But right then, I knew one thing, we'd found each other again. And this time, nothing would tear us apart. Spring arrived fast after that brutal winter. Snow melted. Campus turned green. Graduation happened under a rare clear New England sky. I wore my cap and gown, standing in the crowd, no longer feeling out of place. Julian sat a few rows away, same gown, but no longer the center of attention. The talk about his rebellion, disowning his family, it had faded. People whispered, then forgot. We weren't the story anymore, and that felt good. After the ceremony, we skipped old frat parties. Julian had left them long ago. I never belonged. Instead, we loaded his beat-up pickup, bought with freelance consulting cash, and moved. I'd gotten a grad school scholarship farther south, warmer climate. No one knew our history. Our new place, a small town outside Boston, second floor of an old red brick building. Nothing fancy, but big windows overlooking a park, real wood floors, kitchen big enough for both of us to cook without bumping elbows. We moved in on a sunny afternoon, sweating, laughing our asses off when the fridge wouldn't fit and the old couch got stuck in the doorway. First night, we didn't sleep right away. We lay on the mattress on the floor, windows open, cool breeze coming in, hands linked. "You regret it?" I asked quietly, knowing the answer. Julian rolled toward me, propped on an elbow, staring long. Moonlight hit his face, softening those blue eyes. "Regret what? The money? The name? The frat?" He shook his head, leaned down, kissed me soft. No. I only regret hurting you that long. I smiled, pulled him down beside me. We made it through. He nodded, hands sliding down my back. Gentle now. Not possessive, just loving. We're really free, Elias. No parents, no expectations, no secrets. Next morning, sunlight poured through thin curtains. I woke first, watched him sleep. Steady breaths, face relaxed, arms still around my waist like habit. No more nightmares jolting him awake. No more silent calls from his dad he had to endure. Just us, two damaged guys learning to heal together. I kissed his forehead, light like he'd done that fever night. He stirred, sleepy smile, pulled me onto his chest. "Morning, babe," he murmured. "Morning," I said, tracing circles on his chest. We lay there a long time, listening to birds, distant cars on quiet streets. No rush, no worry, no fear. Life ahead won't be easy. Money tight, new jobs, tired days. But we have each other. Really have each other. No power games, no bullying, no masks. Just love, soft, real, free. And I know whatever comes, we'll face it together. Like we did that snowy night when everything changed.